the current architecture that we're using is not delivering global stability in terms of international relations, and it's not delivering domestic stability. If you look within just about every Western economy, people are, frankly, furious. And whether they're drifting to the far left and cheering for Hamas and the Houthis, which some young people are doing, or whether they're drifting to the far right, either way, they've really just had enough of the current system. So objectively, it's not working well enough for enough people. And as a result, from different starting positions, some to the left and some to the right, and some in a boring, centrist way, you are seeing government after government having to recognize, or opposition parties, more importantly, embracing the opportunity of looking at things differently and saying, look, we have to shake the box and see what else we can get. And this, as I said, a broader running theme I've been exploring for years. What would work starting from where we are, and what does it imply for markets? Now, Milei in Argentina, lots of people were absolutely kind of mocking his chances of winning and saying, wow, there's a crazy guy. Then he goes to Davos, as you said, gives a passionate but well-reasoned, articulate speech, albeit very political in one direction, and not everyone would agree. Fair enough. And he gets warm applause. Then you get a series of corporate CEOs and very important talking heads coming out and saying, well, actually, we don't like Donald Trump in terms of his rhetoric, but we actually think some of his arguments were right. So you can clearly see that there's a lot of people scrambling to think what would work, whether we like it or not, to deliver international stability and domestic stability. And I don't think the market really has got its head around what that implies yet. And one more very quick point. For example, we've seen another series of headlines over the last couple of days after Ron DeSantis has now dropped out of the US presidential race and endorsed Trump, that the market is saying, okay, we're not going to be caught napping like we were in 2016. We're going to start exploring what it might mean for Trump to win. And one of the bullet points they're thinking about is what would it mean to have a 10% tariff imposed on all US imports? Well, first of all, they can't model that because they don't really understand what the second and third order effects are. And more importantly, they don't grasp that Trump isn't talking about a 10% tariff just because it's a 10% tariff. He's talking about structurally breaking the global system by hook or by crook to basically reindustrialize the US, and in a neo-Hamiltonian manner, which is how the US originally industrialized, putting up a barrier between it and the rest of the world. So it's cheap to produce in America and more expensive to produce everywhere else if you're importing into America. That shakes up every asset class, equities, FX, bonds, you name it, everything gets put in the box and shaken around. So that's what markets should start thinking about. But of course, that's really, I think, above most people's pay grade.